thanks for purchasing the water saver. So when you get your kit, this is what you're going to get. So you'll get this fancy device. You'll get 2 screws, some zip ties. You're going to get these fasteners, and it'll be assembled like this with this one up really tight. I'll show you where all these go soon. But once you get your hose first and unravel it, just get the tape off it and just sit it outside in the sun or something for 10 minutes, you know, just to loosen the hose, because it's going to be wrapped up like that. So just want you to carefully undo it, don't hit yourself in the face. And yeah, because it's going to be coiled. So throw it out in the sun for 5 minutes. So do that. And then you're going to get the fancy valve. And I'll show you how it works. So there's a little arrow on this. So when the water comes in from the hot water, it's coming into this side and it's coming around here because it's pointing that way, and it's bypassing the valve. So that's when you're on mains pressure. And then when you're out camping, you turn that valve and then it comes up here and it goes through this valve into the first tank you draw from. So that might be the back of your van, the front of your van, the middle of your van, but whichever tank you draw from first is where that has to go into. I'll show you when we install it. And then that'll go into your tank when it's not hot. And it's only warm water that goes in your tank. Some people said hot water. It's not hot water, it's just warm water. And then it goes through and then it becomes hot. So that'll go straight to your shower. And that's how that works. So let's go and install it. Right, a few tools that you need. You need a screw gun of some sort so we can, you know, screw these up underneath. So we've got the screw gun. We need a flat blade screwdriver so we can tighten up this hose clamp. We need a cutting device of some sort to cut this pipe. So either one of these cutters that you get from Bunnings or whatever, or a Stanley knife or a good Stanley knife blade. Do not use a hacksaw. I've cut this with a hacksaw. I'll show you why. You cut it with a hacksaw, you can see all this burred edge. So it's really burred, and inside, all that crap inside will go into your tanks and your filters and stuff. No good for it. And it leaves this really burred edge that you cannot clip into this clip fitting. So you do have to use a Stanley knife. If you got one of these, you can, you know, slowly twist it like that. So you twist it. And that's a nice, neat, clean cut. And that will slip into this fitting very easily. With the bird section, won't slip in. And just a bit of a tip when you slide these in, you can come up here and listen to this. So it slides in this first little bit, and inside there's all these little teeth, and then there's an O-ring. So that'll go into there. You've really got to give it a push. That was a little push. It's only just gone past the little teeth. Now you've got to get it right into the O-ring. And it clips in there. You can feel the clip when you do it. Well, that was me going, but I could feel it, so that's why I did it. So, and then it'll go in the O-ring, gets a good seal. So, and if you ever have to take this off, you push this blue tab, these blue tabs, you push these in, and then you can wiggle that out, because that makes them teeth go in, so that will slide back out. But you really got to make sure it clips in, you know, like, feel it really clip in. So if you're not quite sure, give it a really extra good push. Make sure your hands are dry to get that really to clip in. So, righto, so let's go and install it. Righto, it's time to install. So we're going to grab this blue hose that we've stuck on the sun for about 5 minutes. You can see it's already not as circled as it was. And first step, we'll grab that and we'll grab this fitting. And like I said, you've got to push it in and give that a real nice good clip in. That's in now. So that's our first step. That's what you want to do first, just to get that done. And we'll put this just here, and we'll go underneath the van and we'll put it in. Righto, so we're underneath the van, and our white is the hot water coming in. And it comes into this tempering valve, and it does have a H on here for hot water. And this is your cold water, and this is the hot going to your shower and your vanity. So the hot water service is coming out of this side. I've already cut mine because I already had it installed. So I'm just doing demonstration purposes. I've taken mine out. So that goes from the hot water service, and it used to come straight into here, comes into here. This one here goes straight to the kitchen sink, which is pure hot water. And it comes into here, and this adds a little bit of cold, so don't get burnt in the shower, you know, kids jump in. It's a safety valve.
And then it comes out of here, goes to the shower, which is that way, and that one there is the vanity next to the toilet. So we want to put this valve in this section here. So let's clip that in. Okay, so now that's installed. So you can see the valve is coming from the hot water's coming this way into your valve here to divert it left or right. There's the hot water diverter, and then it goes into here, which goes to your taps. So at the moment it's installed like nothing's really installed. It's coming in here, going around. That's just normal hot water, so it's on grid. So now that's all done, and then you can turn that, and now we're off grid. It comes in here, goes through here, and does all the water saving. So we've got to install now our bypass, which is that blue hose. So let's go and install that. And this is my first tank that I go to first, which is at the front of the van. And you can see here we've got our overflow, our fill point. This is our draw. We do not want us to connect to the draw. Do not put it to this. We want to go to the drain. So there's a drain there. We want to connect it to the drain. And we want to connect this to the drain. So we want to be able to put that into there. So as you can see, we've installed that into there now, and our hose comes around. I've just tucked it into there, and we've got to cut this little bit here. So let's just cut that off and we can join it in. Righto, I've just cut that and joined it in. I've gave myself a bit of slack hose. It's always good to have some spare hose. So it just runs in between here, comes back out, so it's just a loop, and it comes in here. You want to make sure that white hose doesn't get crimped, because that'll be no good. That's what the zip ties are for, so we can zip tie this out of the way up there, keep that nice and straight. So let's get some zip ties and we'll zip tie this up. Okay, so as you can see, we've zip tied this up, and the hose here is not kinked, it's nice. And I've used the other one of these clips just to fasten that down so it can't move. And I've gave you a couple of zip ties, so I've put 2 on here just to be sure. And then I've put my other fastener on there, so then this one can't move either. It's nice and tight. Okay, so it's all installed now. We've got everything all fastened up. We've checked everything. We're going to make sure this valve's now open, so it's on the open position. Righto, so when you're off grid now, this valve's open, it'll bypass and come back and fill this back, this first tank back up. And so it just keeps recycling itself. But when you switch over to your second tank, it'll still fill this first tank up. So all the water you're going to be saving will come back into this first tank. So when that second tank has run out, you can open up the valves and draw back out of your first tank to get all the water that you've just saved. And so basically your first tank becomes your overflow, and that's where you save all your extra water. So you can turn that back on and draw back out of that one. So if you've run out of water out of your first tank, you can shut it. Now you're sucking off your second tank, and then when you run out of your second tank, your first tank's going to have a heap of water in it. So you can turn this one and open this one, and you're going to suck all the water that you've just saved out of that first tank. Righto. So this might be a little bit different on each other van, but on our van, this is our first tank and our second tank. So second tank's closed, our first tank's open. So now we're going to draw from that first tank, and we're off grid. So we'll go underneath and swap the valve around. We've just jumped under the valve. We're just going to turn this across. Now we're off grid. As you can see, the arrow's pointing this way, so we're going through this valve. So now we can jump inside and turn the shower on. Alright, so we're just going to turn the hot water, so we can just go straight to hot if you want. And it's just dripping, but you can hear that pump going in the background. So what it's doing underneath, it's circling through that valve and putting all that water back into that first tank until it gets warm. But this would actually be gushing at the moment, so this takes a while. Like, you'd be surprised how much water you save. You hear that pump in the background going. That valve's just waiting to get warm enough so it can open up. And as soon as it opens up, we're going to get all that hot water. it's dripping like this, so it knows that's happening. So there it is, bang. And then the only little bit of cold you get, that's already hot. So the only little bit of cold you get is whatever's in your line here, and then that little bit to it. So that's it. And then you can turn it off. And for the next 5 minutes or whatever, if that valve is still warm, it'll just give you warm water again until that valve gets cold.
Righto, thanks for watching. That's a quick installation on how to install it all. And so once you install it and you're at home, just double check everything, make sure it all works. I don't want you to have a leak if one of those fittings aren't pushed in properly and you're out in the middle of nowhere. So just check it at home, you know, give it a run, make sure you're familiar with everything, how it all works. And happy saving water, and hope to see you out there. Righto, hooroo.